Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to tackle a challenging but important topic, and that is how do we manage chronic painful conditions in children and adolescents, especially when standard painkillers they are not helping. So here we will be focusing on two key medications, number one gabapentin and number two amitriptyline, and see what the current evidence tells us. So first, a quick look at the scale of the problem. Now, chronic pain, which is pain lasting more than 3 months, that is pain lasting for what? More than 3 months or longer, affects up to 30% of children and teenagers. And a big chunk of this is what we call as neuropathic pain, which comes from problems in the nervous system itself, which is not just from an injury or inflammation. Now, some conditions like chronic or complex regional pain syndrome, also known as CRPS, and other neuropathic disorders, they make up a large share of referrals to pediatric pain clinics and even to emergency departments. But here is the challenge. Evidence for treatment in kids is still limited, and much of what we do is adopted from adults, and that means we often have to use these medicines off label. So, what do we know about these two medications? Let's start with gabapentin. Originally designed to treat epilepsy, gabapentin has become a mainstay for neuropathic pain in adults. It works by binding to calcium channels in the nervous system, calming down abnormal signals that cause pain. Now, in adults, it's a first-line option for neuropathic pain, and we are increasingly using it in children too. Now, one important study, and that was a randomized controlled trial by Brown and colleagues back in 2016. That was the first to test gabapentin in kids with CRPS, that is chronic complex regional pain syndrome, and neuropathic pain. And since then, gabapentin is commonly used as part of a multimodal approach, not as a magic bullet, but as one tool alongside physical therapy and psychological support. So the question is, how do we use it? Gabapentin is usually started at a low dose, for example 300 milligrams 3 times a day, and then it is gradually increased. It's available as tablets, capsules or liquid, and can be mixed with food for younger children. Now, side effects are mostly mild, that is drowsiness, dizziness, wobbliness, maybe some nausea or tummy upset, but we do need to watch out if the child has kidney problems, as it can interact with antacids and it can also interact with opioid medicines, causing extra drowsiness. Overall, systematic reviews show gabapentin is probably safe and helpful for pediatric neuropathic pain, but the data is still patchy, so we rely on a cautious and a tailored approach. And now let's switch to amitriptyline. Now, amitriptyline is an older antidepressant, but at low doses, it's well known for helping with neuropathic pain. It works by changing the levels of serotonin and noradrenaline in the brain, which affects how pain signals are processed. In adults, it's a first-line drug for neuropathic pain and fibromyalgia. Not so for mood in these cases, but for its direct pain-relieving effects in these conditions. So the question is, what about children? Again, evidence is limiting but growing. The same trial in 2016 by Brown and colleagues that tested gabapentin also compared it to amitriptyline in kids with complex regional pain syndrome and nerve pain. Now, amitriptyline is also used for conditions like functional gut disorders, chronic headaches, and juvenile fibromyalgia. And here it's mostly to help with pain plus associated anxiety or sleep issues. In kids, the typical starting dose of amitriptyline is 10 milligrams at bedtime, which is then gradually increased. Taking it at night helps because it tends to make them sleepy. Now the question, what are the side effects of amitriptyline? They are sleepiness, dry mouth, nausea, constipation, and most of these side effects are mostly mild, but then there are some serious cardiac risks too, though rare. So before starting, we always check an ECG to look for any abnormal heart rhythms or for any QT prolongation. There's also a black box warning for small increased risk of suicidal thoughts in young people on antidepressants, so we monitor carefully and use the lowest effective dose. And if the sedation is too much, nortriptyline might be an alternative. It's a similar medication to amitriptyline, but it has got less sedating side effects. So how do these two medications, that is gabapentin and amitriptyline, compare to one another? The good news is that the head-to-head trial found that both gabapentin and amitriptyline, they reduced pain and improved sleep with no major difference in side effects. The pain scores dropped by a small but meaningful amount. I would say it was not dramatic, but it was clinically relevant. So in practice, both are reasonable first-line options for children with neuropathic pain, but with careful monitoring and always as a part of multimodal plan where you've got other modalities as well, like psychological support and behavior therapy. But we must stay realistic. The evidence has got some gaps. Number one, most of these trials were small. Number two, many uses of these medications, they remain off label. That can also be called as off license. Three, placebo effects are strong in pediatric pain studies. And number four, that long-term safety data for this medication is scarce. So we really need larger, high-quality trials to confirm what works best for these kids. So the final takeaway is that gabapentin and amitriptyline are tools. They are just tools, but they are not the whole toolkit. Managing chronic pain in children always needs a team approach. That is physical rehabilitation, psychological support, family education, plus carefully chosen medicines. So think of it like building a house. You wouldn't just use one tool to build the whole thing. So if used wisely, these medicines can help children reclaim sleep, school and social life. But we always combine them with the other supports to get the best outcome. So thank you very much folks for listening. I hope this gives you a clear idea of where gabapentin and amitriptyline fit into the bigger picture of pediatric chronic pain care. I'm happy to answer your questions if you've got any, and if there is any, just put it down in the comment section below and I would be more than happy to answer them. Thank you very much. Have a very good day. Take care and bye-bye.